So, welcome to our Sunday night call. This is my favorite call ever. Um, my name is Emily Hartzog, and I am a 50-year-old single mom to three adults in Houston, Texas. I am a fourth grade reading teacher, and I started on plan in March of 2022. I weighed about 190 pounds. I'm only 5 feet tall, so that was a lot of weight on my 5 foot frame. Um, and started coaching in June of 2022. So I've been coaching for about 3 years. And by September of that year, I had lost 50 pounds and I was feeling amazing. I had not been that low since I had had my first child. Um, and it wasn't at the healthy BMI that I needed to be at, but I felt really good about it. And so I just made a whole bunch of excuses for why that was a good weight for me. I got to 140 and I was like, this is good. I'm almost 50. 140 pounds is fantastic. Um, and so I kind of hung out there and I stayed there for 2 years. Um, and then I started thinking that I had everything figured out because I was a health coach and I came to all the calls and I knew all the things. And so I started listening to some of the other voices that were getting in my head. Um, some of you may see some of those or hear some of those voices on social media. There's all the intermittent fasting and the intuitive eating, and there's always the things for Weight Watchers and counting your macros and all of the things, right? Like everybody out there is a health expert right now. And so I started thinking, I know enough that I can adjust the plan a little and I'll still be fine. In fact, I might even start losing weight again because I'm going to adjust things that I know better. Um, your coach may have told you when you started that if you adjust the plan, you adjust the results. That's true. And even if you think you know everything because you have researched it all and you've been listening to all the people, you don't actually get to keep the same results if you alter the plan. That's not actually how that works. So, all of a sudden in February of this year, I was up 15 pounds. I was up to 155, and I was like, oh dear. Okay, well, this is not okay. So I'd hit that point where I was like, oh, that's kind of my max where I'm like, I'm not good with that anymore. My clothes are tight now. I got rid of my big clothes. And so, um, now I have clothes that don't fit, and I was adamant that I wasn't going to go buy new clothes. So back on 5 and 1 in February ish, right? Anybody else ish their 5 and 1? So I was ishing my 5 and 1 in February, and I was losing a pound, and then I was gaining a pound, and I'd lose a couple pounds, and then I'd gain them back, and then I'd lose 5 pounds, and then I'd gain a little bit back. Like I said, I'm a teacher. Spring break happened, STAR testing happened, just a whole crazy testing thing in Texas. Um, Last week of school, teacher appreciation week, all the things. I never got off that ish cycle. And so the weight never came off. And the last day of school, I got up and I was going to get dressed and I went to put on the outfit that I had picked out, and my shorts were too tight and I couldn't wear them. So I had to go digging through my clothes that were supposed to be like on the bigger size. And that's what I had to wear. And I was horrified because those were my fat shorts. And I looked at pictures of myself. You take pictures all day long the last day of school with the kids and whatever. And I was looking at the pictures and I was like, ooh, that's not cute. And so I sort of drew a line in the sand and I said, I'm over my own shit. Sorry, I use that kind of language sometimes. But I was like, I'm over it. I'm done. I'm over myself. And so I decided that I had to be back on plan, and it had to be back to the basics. I had to go back to what I was doing in March of 2022, where I started losing the weight. And I knew that I had to be consistent, but I get really caught up in being perfect. And so I told myself, you don't have to be perfect, but you have to be consistent. You have to stay on 5 and 1, and you have to stay with just the basics. So what are the basics? 5 fuelings, 1 lean and green, not 1 lean and green plus all the other little things, right? Not five fuelings and a lean and green and a couple of bites of this or a drink of that. Um, all the water. I went back to drinking 100 ounces of water a day. My secret weapons, I brought props today. Electrolytes. I went back to doing electrolytes every day, every single day. I went back to doing calorie burn every day, sometimes twice a day because the caffeine is kind of good. I had absolutely stopped doing EAAs. This is a game changer for me. I went back to doing EAAs every single day. They helped with my cravings. They made me feel better. And then the hardest part for me was that I had to get over the shame of having gained the weight and I needed some accountability around it. So I started texting my weight every day to Catherine, and no matter what, every day I sent my weight. Sometimes I would say, oh, this isn't really what I wanted it to be, or here's why I think it might be up. But honestly, it wasn't up very often because, and if it was, point whatever, because I was being consistent and I was go back to the basics of what I was doing, what I knew I was supposed to do. I had to get past the shame of I am starting over. And I had to reframe that as starting over isn't failure, it's just refusing to give up. And I had to find people, sorry, wow, okay. I had to find people who weren't going to give up on me because it's real easy to give up on yourself. And I had to find people who were going to hold me accountable and be my support. And my coach is that, like, the coaching community is great. The coaches you have are amazing and they want to be your support. And that's what I had to lean into, was the support of a coach. The support of people who are on the same journey as me. These calls are invaluable. Sunday night calls are my staple. It's how I start my week. Usually I am meal prepping while I'm listening, getting ready for my week, laying out all my things, make sure I have everything I need. But ultimately, I just refuse to give up on myself. And so there's no shame here. There's no judgment, just support and encouragement. And I just want, if you don't take anything else away from tonight, I want you to take away that starting over isn't failure, it's refusing to give up. And if you need to start over, then you need to start over. And that's okay, but go back to the basics of what the program is intended and go back to what worked when you first started. Go back to what the science and the data shows actually works for all of us. I am down to 143 now. Since I started back to, I was at 155, I'm back down. I can't do the math in my head right now. So it works when you actually do the program. So, I don't want to talk anymore. Like, you don't need to hear anything else from me. I want to hear from you. So if you are, if you're struggling, if you have questions, I would love to talk to you. Elizabeth and Stephanie are on here too and can help with that as well. If you're a coach, we love you. I know you've heard this before. We love you so much. You're so amazing. You're the best people on the planet. And we have coach calls. So let's leave this open for clients. And all you have to do is raise your little Zoom hand thingy and